Hello, everyone. My name is Dmitry Markov, and I'm an SEO specialist of Idea Digital Agency. Today, we're going to talk about search engine optimization tips for small businesses, how to create an effective SEO strategy and rank higher on Google or any other search engine. Let us begin. The first question we should ask is, why do small business owners have such a hard time with SEO or search engine optimization? This is both the question for owners and for SEO specialists, because there are a number of reasons we're going to discuss here that are quite important. First, it's quite difficult. That's not a secret that SEO doesn't work like a magical button. You don't press it and your website is optimized, of course. So there are different measures and complex of actions that you take, which are on-page SEO, off-page SEO, and some multiple tasks that you do with your website or outside of your website that help you to rank higher on Google or any other search engine. That includes optimizing metadata, optimizing your page, the content on the page, the media, headings, technical optimization, and a lot of other things that need certain qualification to do. So business owners cannot do that by themselves, of course, and that's why they hire agencies like we are, or they hire freelancers or just separate SEO specialists to do that work. The other reason is it's often expensive. So depending on the scale of your business, and if we talk about local business or small business, it's pretty much not expensive. You can do it within a couple of $100 total. For example, you can do it some tasks on your own. You can delegate some tasks to an SEO specialist, link builder. But for larger companies, SEO expenses they grow because you need more pages. You have a lot of products if you are an e-commerce store, for example, or you need more quality backlinks, for example, and the off-page SEO promotion and growing your brand awareness. So the bigger you are, the more money you need for the optimization. But you can start low. You can actually invest a little bit from time to time to start your SEO strategy, but then actually improve it every time with more expenses and, of course, get more results. So the next question and the next point here is no understanding of search engine optimization value. Many business owners and companies, they do not understand how to connect, how to actually relate SEO with their business strategy and with their commercial goals, for example. So that's more leads or more sales or more services sold, and etc. So basically, not having this understanding makes it a business owner to hesitate from starting the SEO, which in many cases will be useful and, of course, will bring more traffic, more value, more customers. But because of not having this understanding, they still hesitate. The next is not willing to scale and grow. So sometimes an SEO research and the competitor research, keyword research, they show that the business needs to grow, that business needs to outperform competitors and to actually beat them on Google search results, for example, on the market itself. They need more products or more services or more diverse programs and more value to the customer, etc. So basically, that means growth, and that means more expenses as well. That means more stuff, for example, and of course, some people refrain from that because they're not willing to understand how this growth, except for causing some problems, of course, because the more you grow, the more obstacles you encounter. How that growth can help them actually bring more customers and be on the next level. And SEO strategy sometimes can show where you can grow. What are your points of growth here? And if you do SEO, you should be willing to accept that you have to grow and scale. Lack of time, of course. That's one of the most important reasons, because a business owner wants an agency or the SEO specialist just to do their work and not to interfere with the process, not to do pretty much anything, and for the business to grow with the help of SEO. In reality, that doesn't work that way, unfortunately, because you have to immerse yourself into some processes, which is communication with the agency or SEO specialist, reviewing the texts or technical tasks, for example, that were written by an SEO specialist or a copywriter, being able to have regular calls, being able to review keywords and finalize pages and actually approve them before they're published on the website. So that's a lot of agreement and approving here. So yeah, there are some processes that a business owner needs to be involved in for an SEO strategy to work effectively. So that's one of the reasons. Next is SEO specialists are too niche. That means they're link builders, they're market explorers, they're optimizers of like on-page optimizers. They're those who build just SEO strategies and do not do the daily work, the routine work of an SEO specialist. So they're technical SEOs, which are more into website analysis and let some errors and bugs that you find on the website, and then either delegate that to programmers to fix or fix them by themselves. So with this kind of selection of SEO specialists, sometimes a business owner doesn't choose the right person or doesn't know how to choose the right person. So the benefit of an agency like we are is that we have all specialists available: link builders, technical SEO, optimizers, copywriters, a lot of SEO specialists of different kind, which actually close all possible tasks available there for SEO optimization. So pretty much you don't worry about anything. You just delegate and sometimes communicate with us when we need you to approve something, right, or to review something, and that should do it. Next is SEO is constantly changing. That is true that their algorithms of Google and other search engines that they evolve, they change, they improve, and you need to keep up with that. You need to understand that you cannot just optimize all of your pages once, fix all your bugs, and that's it. And you have a perfect website. Unfortunately, that doesn't work that way. You have to research competitors from time to time. You have to do and review technical audits. You have to do that constantly, like once a month or once in 2 months. You have to review keywords and see if there are new keywords appearing, and if you need more landing pages or less landing pages. You need to keep up with the competitors in terms of backlink and off-page SEO. So a lot of things to consider, and of course that's all dynamic, that's all constantly changing, and you need to understand that SEO is a long-term process. You cannot just do that 1 month and then stop doing that and expect the results to improve. Of course, you have to do it constantly. It's a long-term run, but in the end, you get a lot of good results. You get more leads, more customers, more conversions of the website, more traffic, etc., etc. So of course, there are a lot of positive things that SEO brings to your business. So let's move on. And again, once more, often companies do not understand how to align business goals with SEO strategy. We, of course, help with that. So we help to understand how the task plan and the SEO strategy will relate to your growth as a business and to achieve your business goals. Of course, SEO could be divided in different stages. And here I would like to point out two stages, which is a balance of short-term and long-term goals. There are some things that you can do faster in an SEO and actually improve results in a short term, and there are some things that take longer. So let's consider both of them. First of all, SEO goals, again, they can be divided into short and long term, and some of the most common goals that you can achieve in SEO and search engine optimization and actually create these goals for your business in terms of SEO strategy. So first is improving visibility in search engines. That means that you rank for more keywords and you appear on by more keywords typed, you appear in search results more often, higher on the first page of Google, for example. and getting to the first page of Google, of course. So next is increasing customer conversion. That is also part of SEO, where you make it possible for and actually make it possible for your website to convert better, to actually for customer to submit an application, to fill out a form on your website, book an event, etc., or actually purchase a product, for example. Then increase website traffic. That means, of course, with your blog, for example, or with commercial pages, some product categories, or service pages, for example. So that's the overall description. But growth of website traffic definitely means that you potentially get more leads or more conversion on the website, and the more traffic you have, the more possible it is for you to achieve your business goals, whatever they are. Next is improving the reputation of the site and of your company. So that means by doing SEO, you can increase brand awareness, and you can actually improve your company's reputation by placing reviews. That's also part of SEO in Google My Business, for example, and the actual aura of the company, if we put that way, on internet. So because customers, they actually Google not only some products, they if they know your company or they want to know more about your company, they will look for reviews or testimonials or whatever information they can find about your company to understand they can trust you. And SEO also does that. uh, Maybe improving positive feedback about your company. That's also part of the reviews program, and first page in search results, and some other goals. So let's move on to short-term goals, just a few of them for you to understand what they are and how to form them. One is increase traffic to the website for target keywords. So when we do a keyword research, we collect all possible search queries that a customer can use to find a product, a service, a category, or anything else. So by that, we form the full list, and therefore we optimize our pages to make it possible for them to rank higher and bring more traffic to your website by the keywords that are on that page, for example. Increase conversion rate, of course, we discussed that. That's, for example, submitting an application or purchasing a product on your website. Improve the quality of conversions through a more targeted keyword list. So, of course, you don't want just anyone to visit your website. You want a target audience to visit your website and do the actions that you want as part of the business goals. Increase the time spent on the website. Of course, that means a behavioral factor that can improve your search engine visibility and rankings, or ranking growth for target keywords. For example, you had like the fifth position on the first page of Google search results, and then, of course, if you improve it, because people, when they put a search query in search engine, they actually tend to click more on the first position and the second position, for example, than on the fifth. So of course you want to rank higher in order to get more clicks, which is the CTR, like click-through rate. And of course that brings more traffic to your website, and more traffic means more targeted customers visited and potentially have done an action on your website, which is a conversion. So long-term goals. Top 1-5 ranking for target keywords. Of course, it means that ranking higher is hard. So being on the first page of Google in a competitive niche, actually it's hard. But ranking top 1, top 2, or 3, for example, it's super hard. So for that, there are also strategies. There are also ways to do that, and that's a complex of measures. That's just one action. So long-term goal is ranking higher, because you cannot do that just in 1 month. You have to work on that efficiently, and you have to do that from time to time, all these actions and all these measures in order to rank higher. And of course, it's a long-term goal, 6 months and more, sometimes 1 year, sometimes even 2 years, depending on the business and the niche competitiveness. Increase brand awareness, increase brand traffic. Of course, when your company grows and people start to recognize your brand, both in search or offline, they start to Google specifically your brand. name, and that means that's a good sign actually that people know your company. They try to find out more about your company, or they actually want to purchase right from you. They're not looking for the product; they're looking for you to purchase that product. For example, positive dynamics of brand mentions, positive PR, brand ambassadors, people who actually recommend your company to others, increase the number of loyal customers, and so on and so forth. So the number of quality backlinks, for example, because backlinks and off-page SEO are one of the main factors when actually optimizing a website, and when trying to rank higher, that's one of the key factors, I'd say. So let's move on. Um, Long-term goals, and then we move on to the question: what should be considered when developing an SEO strategy? First, set goals that you can control. So you should not set goals like just increase traffic. You want to increase traffic for specific keywords, for example, because those keywords mean something to your business and they're related to the products or services you sell. And you just don't want just traffic, right? You want a quality traffic from target audience that will convert and bring you money, bring actually help you to achieve business goals. So share responsibilities for goal achievement. Number two, there's some things that you have to understand in SEO, that SEO doesn't end actually on optimizing a web page, right? So that's the whole funnel of your business, and SEO is just one part of it, of this funnel. And that means an SEO specialist cannot be responsible for sales, for example, because the sale doesn't stop there of a person adding a product to a cart, right, and just checking out of the cart. The next part is actually selling by a salesperson, for example, then the delivery, then some like post-sale services and the customer service itself. So there are things that influence that sale, and SEO specialists cannot be responsible for the whole sale. It can be responsible for a conversion rate on the website. So you should understand that you have to share responsibilities, that SEO is just the website and to make customer make a conversion on the website, and then everything else is to the business owner and to sales department and whatever it is. Number three, avoid using vanity goals. A vanity goal, as we discussed in number one point, is that you set goals that are either not achievable or they are just not representative of your business goals, right? So they do not represent money value, and that's just, for example, just traffic, right? Or just I don't know, the time spent on the page. This is one of the metrics that can be used to understand how people like a web page. If they spend more time, of course, they like it more. But that cannot be used as a goal, as a business goal, right? So if people spend 5 minutes on a page, but there are no conversions on that page, that doesn't make any sense for your business. Number four, determine your strength and weaknesses, and that is SWOT analysis. So that's one of the ways to determine your strength and weaknesses. And we can take a look here at the example. So you can just Google that SWOT analysis, and this is the small chart, the square that represents it. So strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That's all related to your business. So you should list them in each box depending on how you understand your business. Of course, being a business owner, the owner of a company, you should be able to answer all these questions to understand where you are compared to your competitors, and what you need to do next in terms of business goals. So next is follow the SMART goal setting framework. We'll consider that in the next slide, and plan SEO goals based on historical data. So of course you cannot just anticipate 1,000 visits to your website next month having just one visit this month, for example, because that's an unrealistic goal, unfortunately. And you should relate that to the previous historical data of visits in Google Analytics, for example. So this is the smart representation. So the goal should be specific. Setting up goals, either it's business goals or SEO goals, you should consider this framework, which is not the only one, but this is the most useful and easy to use because it's pretty comprehensive just at the first glance. So a goal should be specific. State what you'll do. Then, for example, I want more traffic by the next month, for example. So more traffic, more organic traffic to your website, measurable. So you should be able to measure it, and that is Google Analytics in this case. You can actually track that in that tool. It should be achievable, as I mentioned before, based on the historical data. You should consider that. A website brings more traffic, of course, with every month if you do it right, for instance, but you cannot just grow in an instance from one user to 1,000 users just in one month. Of course, there are cases where you can, depending on the niche, but just as an example. It should be relevant to your business. So do not set up SEO or business goals that are not representative or relevant to your business, or don't actually relate to the money, because pretty much every business is about money and selling something, either it's a service or a product. And of course it should be time bound. So you can say I want more traffic, but that doesn't mean that you will get that traffic in 1 month. So you should set up a deadline by what time you want that traffic on your website, for instance. So let's move on to the insights and SEO tips for small businesses. In this part, we'll consider some of the tips. Of course, it's not limited to this list, but there might be some useful insights both for SEO specialists and company owners, like local business owners or small business owners, to implement for your website and to think about and maybe consider them for an SEO strategy or business strategy. So let's move on. Set up Google Alerts to stay up to date with reviews, mentions, and auto-generated lists. That means that you can receive directly from Google a list of mentions of your company, or a list of news and articles about some topic that is related to your business or to a specific area, for example. So let's just take an example. Here we have Google Alert Service. You can just again Google it, and you will see this page. This is the first page: results, Google Alerts. This is the service. You should be logged into your Google account. And for example, if I enter SEO, I will be the preview of the alert list, and I can create an alert. That means I subscribe to this list, and every week I'll be receiving some mentions or some news or some updates about SEO. And that's in the, here you can see that in the title of the article, in the description, etc. Great. So moving on. Check for new listings and company profiles that may have been created automatically or by any user. Sometimes it happens that when you sometimes understand that something is wrong with the company reviews, or something is wrong with the company reputation, you go on Google, you start to type your brand name, reviews or testimonials, and you appear to see that there are a lot of listings on the first page or on the second page that you have not created, but that mention your company. So you should keep track of that, and you should first of all register by yourself on those websites and try to enhance people, leave positive reviews there. And you should actually keep track of the listings to understand how your company reputation is represented in Google search results when people try to look for information about your company. Optimize outdated but relevant content. If you already have a website and you have quite a few pages, you have blog, for example, don't forget to update it. Don't forget to freshen it up. to make it useful and relevant to the customer today. Next is pick the right competitors. For example, if you're a manufacturer of furniture in your local area, and there's IKEA that is, of course, one of the biggest companies for home interior, for example, and you do that stuff too, but you cannot compete with them on your local market, on the market that is valuable to you because they're too huge, and it's an international business. So that means when you look for competitors, try to look for businesses that are similar to your business in the scale of staff members, in the scale of services you provide, the scale of products you sell, for example. So consider those little things when choosing competitors, because you first will need to outperform them before you appear on the first ranking, right, on the search page results. And of course, to keep up with them, you should consider their strategies, not the strategy of the IKEA, for example. So that is important, of course. Create evergreen content. That means that there are articles and pages and blogs, for example, that could be of temporary interest. Some people Google that, but then the interest drops with time, or that is a news update or some press release or etc. But there are blog articles or pages that are evergreen, that the volume of this keyword is always constant and sometimes even grows with time. So that's more relatable to e-commerce products, right? To e-commerce stores. But sometimes it's about the blog, and there are pages that you should consider updating every time, because that's an evergreen content, and people will Google that all the time, because that topic is just relevant this year, next year, and the year after that. And there are pages and blogs, for example, that are not worth updating from time to time and paying attention to them and actually spending time, because simply the interest to that topic just drops with time. And you can do that, you can track that with Google Search Console, with Google Analytics. So you should actually divide that content into evergreen and not evergreen. And of course, with the evergreen content, you should constantly keep looking at it, how it behaves, how the traffic behaves, what are the conversions, what is the time spent, do people like that web page, on depending on certain factors, and of course update it from time to time. Increase visibility and engagement in social media ads for better social signals. That means that, of course, it's not proven 100%, but it has been noticed by many SEO specialists worldwide that social signals play a significant role in SEO process. And that means nowadays, just a website is not enough. A company, whether it's a small business or a large business, has to be presented in different platforms and different media for your audience to have a comfortable way to reach out to you. For example, if you have a store, an e-commerce store selling iPhones, a website, just a website is not enough. You have to be able to have profiles on different review platforms. You have to have a profile page on some coupon websites. You have to be on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. A lot of Pinterest, for example. So a lot of profiles and social media channels that can bring traffic to your website, but not only traffic, also some signals to search engines that people are interested in your company. They somehow are related to these social media pages, and the traffic conversion, for example, from a social media is also important for Google Analytics analysis, and the search engines, they understand these kind of things. So please keep in mind that you should not only concentrate on your website, but on the whole business strategy and media strategy overall. Attract quality users with long tail keywords. That means that, for example, if we take a look at the keyword buy an iPhone, it's quite a broad keyword. It's a short tail keyword, I'd say, because it consists only of two words and a preposition. But buy an iPhone 13 Pro in Orlando, Florida, that is a more long tail keyword. Of course, it will have low volume, but it's a more like it has more possibility of a conversion because a person is already looking for a smartphone to buy in a specific area. So probably this person is looking for a specific store where he or she can go and actually purchase that offline, for example. So here, a good choice here would be to appear on Google Maps or Google search results in that frame of Google Maps in local My Business profiles, and actually that person can see you there. So long tail keywords are important, and you should not avoid them because just of low volume, because sometimes those keywords have the best possibility for a conversion on your website. Follow trends, create content on popular topics, even if there is no search volume yet. That means that you have to anticipate what customers in your business on your market are interested in. So before they actually have a search volume and has grown to the scale where all the competitors you have are already selling it and you're just keeping up with them, you have to anticipate how to grow your business, and that's also related to SEO, how to create content on your website or in blog that will grow with time, but you were the first one to do that, so you had better chances to rank higher, being the first and creating the super high quality content on that topic and actually updating it every time, making it an evergreen content even. So yeah, follow trends, create content that will be popular for users and for your target audience. Optimize Google My Business and align it with current COVID changes, local rules, events, and law requirements. That means you should not just fill out your schedule, some description, and the company name on Google My Business. Try to relate it to be local, actually, because every state, for instance, or every country has own requirements on visiting places, offline places, for instance, for COVID changes, right? Quite a current topic. So, of course, you should write that as part of the news on Google My Business or as part of your description on the website, or using some attributes that they offer there as a standard to describe how your place relates to COVID rules, for instance. So that's just an example. But keep in mind that Google My Business is one of the very strong SEO tools for local and small companies, and you should always you should always update it and follow it as part of the social media platforms. So consider Instagram or Facebook, where you regularly post some news, some updates, some sales events, etc. So Google My Business is also a good tool for that, because the more you update it, the more the search engine understands that your business is live, and you try to inform your customers about a lot of things about your company, and of course that's a good sign. Try to understand why people leave your website. Analyze not only traffic growth or decline, but also how traffic behaves depending on the channel or landing page, country, or demography, and so on. That means if you see a traffic growth for one of the blog posts you created 2 months ago, you should not only be happy about that, of course, but you should also understand what made it grow. Actually, why customers interested in that topic or in that blog article, how they behave, other conversions from that blog to your commercial pages, for instance, or how much time people spend on that page. Maybe by the heat map, for example, you can understand where people click on that page, what is the scroll depth for that page, for instance. So a lot of indicators that can show you if people like your content. And you should actually scale that. You should understand why people like such type of content, what is special about that content compared to your competitors, and just on your website, why other blogs do not bring traffic, but this one is just super traffic to your website, a lot of users. And you should scale it to other blog pages, maybe change the structure blog pages, change the content, understand what is special about that article, for instance. So that's just one example, but you should always dive into analytics and try to figure out what is really happening with that piece of content and how you can impact that. Actually, what can you change to either grow traffic the same or maybe change something in the content strategy, for instance. Use website blog to solve customer problems, especially for local SEO. Uh, Good point here, because you should not only look for topics to cover that are popular among users, because frankly speaking, quite a lot of competitors might have done that and done a good job actually covering those topics. But of course, you look for them and you research keywords and you write such content. But you should also concentrate on your consumers, on your clients, and what's important to them first of all. It's a customer centric approach, and SEO is also part of that. So you should consider what they're interested in, because you know your customers better, and why they're Googling something, why they have some certain problems, right? And inquiries and questions to your sales department, for example. And if they have a lot of questions about certain product, why not creating a piece of content in blog, for instance, answering all those questions, so you kind of anticipating them before they even make a purchase and bringing more value to them before they reach to your sales, right? So a lot of things to consider here, but just keep in mind that it's important to be customer centric and to understand the problems of your clients and trying to solve them with the help of your website. Of course, that will also do good for SEO in long term. Improve website conversion possibilities. We've talked about this. So the more people convert on your website, the more money you have and the more value your business has. So of course, that makes everyone happy, both the customer and you. And there are certain ways how you can influence your conversion rates on the website. And that's not only about headings or metadata or off-page SEO. That's about the design of the website, the usability and user experience of the website, and SEO analysis and audit of the website, technical audit and usability audit. They help to understand what's good on your website, what's bad on your website, how you can improve it, what you should change and what you might change, maybe experiment a little bit, and how to create pretty much kind of a perfect website. Of course, there are no perfect websites, but you should be closer to perfect website every time to make it comfortable for a user to navigate it, comfortable for a user to order something, to read about your services, to have a showcase of your services, etc. So that is also about usability and user experience and design. And an SEO specialist can also do that, do an analysis, a deep analysis, to help you understand how you can improve your website and therefore improve conversion rates. Get local traffic, Google My Business, local websites and news, structured data, offline events. So all these uh, actions and all these tools help you to be relevant to your specific target audience. For example, apart from being on Google My Business and having a website, you can actually reach out to potential and local news and publishers and some newspapers, for example, that could be offline or online publishers that can showcase your website and services you provide and among the target audience in your city, for instance, that can bring you more traffic and therefore more conversions. Structured data implemented in the code of the page, that is a more technical part, but still it helps. And our agency does that, and we help with that to make your website more local for search bots and for search engines, right? When they scan your website, that's a piece of code integrated in the web page that help search engines understand that your website is related to local business, like to certain city or to certain area, for example. You can actually have offline events that will help to bring more traffic to your website. Uh, for example, in your city, you can have an offline event telling people about your services or the products or on the market, for example. So a lot of ways to do that. And of course, if you advertise your website on that event, some people will do the brand search and visit your website and might be interested in the products. YouTube business channel. One of the good ways to promote your brand and your company, and it's hard to do. Of course, YouTube content is hard to create. It's video content, and of course, you have to shoot it right, to have the script, to do it by yourself or someone to do it. But it's worth it in long perspective, especially if your business grows from local market to the regional market or to the state or country market. Of course, now people like to perceive content visually more and more, and that's in 2022. That's more than relevant. So everybody wants just to watch video about something, then read a piece of content for 10 minutes, for example. So of course, YouTube channel is a powerful tool. You should consider a YouTube strategy as part of SEO strategy, but before doing that, you should understand if you have all the tools and resources to do that, because if you do poor quality content, of course, nobody will be interested in that. So you either do it good, and of course, you start one by one, step by step, but you should aim at high quality video content on YouTube uh, before you actually launch this program, because poor quality content will not attract customers and viewers. And last but not least, website loading speed, website structure, image optimization, and technical SEO. We will not be discussing this in detail. That's part of the next video series, but those things are important. You just should remember that without technical optimization, how fast the website loads on a smartphone of a user, or if the images are optimized in terms of width and height on your website, or if there are bugs or not on your website, that all impacts your SEO and impacts the promotion of your website on Google search. Because search engines, they pay attention to things like, from a user perspective as well, how comfortable a website is for a user. And such things as slow loading speed is definitely not comfortable. So why should they rank you higher than a competitor that has a fast website? Just as an example. So keep in mind that technical optimization is one of the key points and the ground for further growth of your website in search engines. So that's it, folks. Thank you for watching this video. Hope to see you soon, and I hope this was useful. Take care. Bye.